What's up, y'all? You're now listening to the What Now podcast. I'm Dr. Spencer Dupre, owner of Empower Chiropractic.
And I am Dr. Zach Thompson, owner of Within Chiropractic. The purpose of this podcast is to document and share the experiences of two young business owners as we open our own brick and mortar chiropractic practices. Join along as we discuss all of our wins, our losses, insights, and the many, many lessons we learned.
As a disclaimer, none of this is ever intended to be medical, legal, or financial advice.
Welcome back to the What Now podcast. We are super excited to dive into today's episode. Myself, as well as Dr. Spencer, we are 2 months and 1 month respectively into our practices. So we're going to be breaking down everything that we've done this far, what we've learned, and then the most exciting part, what we're implementing going forward. But before then, I did want to give out two shout outs. Shout out to Alejandra Suarez giving us a share on her Instagram story. That means a lot, as well as Michaela Knorr shouting us out as well. Really appreciate the feedback we've been getting, and also really getting to see that you guys are enjoying the show. So if you don't mind, before this show is over, send this to a friend, send it to two friends, send it to your trimester group chat, send it to someone that you know is not listening but needs to. That would really mean a lot to both myself and Spencer. So yeah, let's get into it. What have we done? Spencer, give us a breakdown. You're 6 weeks, correct, into practice. What have you done so far?
Yeah, I feel like I've done so much and so little at the same time.
Truth.
Yeah, it's like you're always doing something, and you don't really get to see the kind of ground that you're gaining until you can actually zoom out. Let's see, what are some things that I've done? Well, I've already redesigned my office.
Okay.
We've made a lot of changes. I came in to this office thinking I was going to practice a certain way, and you get a lot of time to think, and you get a lot of time to reflect, and you have a lot of like, man, what did I do moments, because you've sold the ship, you've burned the boats, and you're all in. And so there's so many moments in there where you get to reflect into your decisions. Literally, like from my wall color to the things that I say about myself on social media or not on social media or in your Google listing, all of those things. So it's just constantly like looking inward and just tweaking and reflecting and tinkering and just continually refining. I'm really taking the first part of my the first year, like the first 2 months of 2022 that I'm open, so November and December, to really refine the product. And that's just been a really common theme that I've been hearing recently in like the two podcasts that I listen to. I've expanded my library into my input sources from 1 to 2. So we're doubled.
But it's called growing up right there. That is called growing up. Yeah. Proud of you, Spence.
Thanks, man. But like the big common theme that I've been hearing for something is like go deeper, refine. And like one of the things I heard, it's like, man, it's awesome if you have a ton of people who are seeing your product, but if you have a sucky product, then now you have a bunch of people who are saying that you have a sucky product.
There you go.
You know, you can't be a restaurant selling ham sandwiches if they're not the best ham sandwiches in the world. You can't just throw mayo on bread and call yourself a restaurant. So really refining everything. I invested even more, going deeper. At first, I thought I was only going to run HRV from CLA and posture screen. After my first week, I threw posture screen totally out of the door, and I invested the rest of whatever thousands of dollars it costs to have the rest of the CLA equipment, and that has single-handedly been the best investment that I've ever made. It does all of the talking for itself.
Other than this podcast.
Yeah. But yeah, I bought a mic for this podcast, and but this has also been one of the really great things, is to be able to sit each week and reflect and just learn from you and our friends and all the things that we're doing. So that's one of the big things that I've done so far, is I invested in new tech, and I changed my direction. That was really big for me. What about you?
If you can, like, give us a little bit more insight into what you mean by refining, right? Like, that's a really, really good word. What has been one or two things that you're really refining to show a really great product when people start coming in?
Oh, dude, I just map out my experiences, right? So not in like a weird way about like, oh, like I see visions or whatever, like some of our friends, but nah, uh,
He's a visionary.
sorry.
There we go.
Yeah. No, but what I do is, you just put yourself in the shoes of, you just put yourself in the shoes of the people who are using your product. And so like I have this, patient file, in my EHR called like member tester or whatever. And it just goes to one of my burner emails. And I just constantly just work through my day 1, day 2 with myself. All the way from like, what does it look like to be on my Instagram as someone else to like clicking on my link? Where does it take me? Like literally, does it lag? Like based if I'm on like Wi-Fi or like not? To filling out my intake forms, how fast, like, do I get bored with my own intake forms? Like, do I think that they're tedious? Because if I think they're tedious, then the people are definitely going to think that they're overbearing.
Right.
And I'm building scripts literally like from when someone calls on the phone, it's like, hey, you say this, like, welcome to Empire Chiropractic. This is Spencer. Who am I speaking with? And like, who do I have the pleasure of speaking with? Yeah. Can I please take your phone number down just in case we get disconnected, just in case we get connected. But
in case there's a connection here. Yeah.
Yeah, like going through those things, day 1, what's going on there from the time that they walk in to the time that they leave and how you schedule them out. Day 2. The thing I'm probably the most proud of, though, is like really being on top of my game with my stats, because stats it's an objective measure for your practice, just like we objectively measure the nervous system. We're objectively measuring the nervous system of the practice, like through our stats. And dude, I hate math. I hate extra tedious work. And I hate having to do things over and over and over again to get something that is like insignificant for the time. And like, I understand that tracking your stats daily is super important, but I don't want to spend 30 minutes every day after a whole day of work to just do math on the side. So I created this calculator. It's probably I'm pretty proud of it, honestly.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've constantly refined that. So literally all I have to do now is, I just see like, I saw this many people, they were in this category of adjustments and I made this much money. And it tells me all of like the KPIs, the key performance indicators of the practice. And so that seeing those numbers, what I'm doing day to day, also like I can look at them and be like, all right, dude, today it's time to push. Like, these are the areas that I'm lacking. These are the areas that I'm strong in. And, just being able to use that as a guiding stick and a measuring stick against my systems.
Yeah. I think it's really cool that you mentioned that and tracking, because I literally just before we hopped on this podcast did a quick Instagram scroll, but Hormozy he posted a video about like why he checks his bank account first thing in the morning, just because he equated it to how if you're trying to lose weight, you're supposed to be checking your weight, weighing yourself in the morning. Like if you see yourself weighing yourself, if you see the weight change on the scale consistently throughout the day, or you don't see a change, like now like, okay, I need to check what I'm eating, right? And so that's awesome that you're checking your stats daily. I know for me, when I first started back in Dallas, independent contracting, I would check my stats at the end of the week, and then like count them for the upcoming week on Sunday. And having since made the switch to tracking every day, it has put aside so much anxiety where like I could have felt like I did a great week, and then Friday rolls around and I count those stats and it's like, dang, like I really didn't do as good as I thought I did. But when I'm tracking daily, it really gives me insight, just like Spencer said, into, okay, now I got to push, or, like how did that feel seeing this amount of people? Like, where were their flaws in today's, right? So it's that daily reflection. So that's awesome, Spence. That's really good.
Yeah. And like, I mean, in the inverse of the tracking conversation, instead of saying like, oh, I'm going to push, it's like, man, it's like, well, now I have time and space for this. Like, based on my daily numbers, I know that I see fewer people on Tuesdays, especially in the afternoon. And so like those can become like my admin days, right? I know Wednesday mornings, I also see like fewer people than I do. Like my Wednesday afternoon, like after this is like pretty heavy. So is Thursday afternoon and Friday morning. So it's like, okay, well, I see the trends of the people that are coming in. And so I can structure my daily schedule like around that to where I can have the shortest amount of adjusting availability possible while still maximizing the adjustments that I can fit in there, because then it yields me the maximum time like to go out and do other things. Whether if I, instead of saying like, oh, well, I have a 6-hour adjusting shift this afternoon, I'm just going to sit here and twiddle my thumbs and like pray to God that somebody walks in. It's like, nah, dude, it's like, I know that my people come in within 3 hours on these days. And so that's when I'm going to be open. They'll schedule there, and I have room in the schedule for more people. They'll tell their friends that want to come at the same time, because I'm attracting my ideal clients. And that's when we're going to get it rock and rolling. And so on the times that they're not in, I'm going to go out and I'm going to market. I'm going to bring more people into my primetime hours.
That's gold. That's gold right there, man. Yeah. Anything else you want to add into things you've done so far, or you feel pretty good there?
We'll see where we go for now. Dude, tell me about the things that you've done so far.
Yeah, man. So, 2 months in, just wrapped up week 8 last Friday. We have seen in our office a steady incline in patient visits per week. And it's just been a blessing, right? Like people have been referring mostly. Social media marketing has taken a little bit more time, which feels like the complete opposite of what's supposed to be happening. But is what it is, right? And so seeing over 50 patient visits the last 2 weeks has been surreal. That was a goal of mine coming into month 6. I was like, let's try to be there come 6 months into practice. And so hitting that within the first 2 months was a pretty awesome feeling. Definitely couldn't have been done without a blessing of a front desk CA, patient care advocate, whatever you may have it. He has been just so vital in regards to the practice booming. But similar to Spencer, I had a big realization. I think we had maybe talked about this, but I'd always viewed like bringing people in as like this external feeling. And then I went to a seminar back in November, Pinnacle Seminars, chiropractic practice management group, and they really harped Pinnacle. Shout out Pinnacle. They really harped on internal systems and having an experience. So when your patients come through, they're excited to tell their friends. And so that was a really big revelation for me. I always kind of looked at what can I do outside the practice for a long time. And so really this last month, refining every little detail, like Spencer was talking about, in that patient care experience, so that their time's not being wasted. Every step they're taking, everything they're writing down on a piece of paper, everything I'm saying and doing is not wasting their time. They're in and out of our doors. Our goal is within 30 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes in that new patient experience. And then from there, it's delivering them, telling them what's going on, what we can do about it, how long it's going to take, and really what is it going to cost. And that's really the 3 driving factors in the report. And it really has allowed to cut the fluff out of it, and I think create a lot more clarity without trying to be super creative. And so that's been a big thing is trying to just make things super clear. Don't want anyone like trying to figure out what's going on, but they're really guided throughout the process. So that's what we've been doing. And I've just noticed, refining those internal systems has just been so huge and freeing in a lot of ways too.
Yeah, dude. I mean, to touch on that and like to expand like farther, like on your systems thing, and like, one, confused people don't ever buy. And so if they're confused about your product, what you do, how long they're going to be there, and what they're going to expect, then they're never going to buy. It doesn't matter. And then I think that there's just like really big misconception, like since we're in like a service-based thing, that we're selling units of time, but we're not selling units of time. This is something I actually heard like that like really clicked a light like for me in Stratton Paulson on Move, Making Moves with Travis Stewart, our homie. We'll have to have him on here. But Travis and Strat were talking about chiropractors, we're not selling units of time, like per se, like massage or acupuncture or needling or whatever. I don't know. But we're selling a result, right? And so people are not expected to be there for an hour. Like, I feel like we come out of school and it's like, oh, well, like, I need to be a fast adjuster, but people need to spend a lot of time, like, to feel like their time has been valued in my office. And so like my first week, dude, I think my first new patient appointment was like 45 minutes or like an hour or something like that. Cause I was trying to constantly like find strings to pull to like unlock value for these people. But instead, like, dude, I just made a roadmap and, I think dude, like I said, I expected to be 30 minutes. And like when I started this new system, people were in and out like 28 minutes, like 27 minutes. Yeah. And they buy a lot more, which is crazy.
Yeah. And I think another thing too that I heard on another chiropractic podcast, Prime Pediatric, with Dr. Skip Weiss, recently, he was talking about, when Spencer and I, our systems are very similar. The people we're attracting are similar in some regards, but as chiropractors, we're allowing people to overcome stress, right? But typically, the people coming in are in such a stressed out, sympathetic fight or flight state that when we bombard them with all this information and with all this like poking and prodding and really making it confusing, like they're zoned out quickly. Like they want to know, are they in the right place, and are they able to get help? And even there's been even some things where I'm like, am I overeducating? So that's always a question in the back of my mind. Like if I feel a question come up during a consultation, is like, is this serving value in this current moment, or is this something that can come up in the next 3 to 6 months of care? And so that's been a lot of fun too.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Like ever since I switched to the full insight system, it's been beautiful. Well, the reason I switched to the full insight system is because I like went Tony Ebel's pediatric experience, like cut and dry. Like everything that Tony is doing, that's what I'm doing. Like there's no more like, oh, I'm trying to create this myself or anything like that. It's like, nah, whatever they're saying is going, because those are the people I'm trying to serve and whatever. And so, dude, I just let the CLA do all the talking for me. All I do is I explain to them, like I go over their paperwork. I tell them about chiropractic with an awesome diagram that one of our buddies shared with us. I go over the scans and I say, okay, I'm going to look at your scans and we'll figure out what they say and the best plan of action. When they leave, like I put it into a calculator. So that's really my biggest thing, is like using these objective measures and having these systems takes me and the emotion out of it. It doesn't make it to where it's like, oh man, I need to pay rent, or, oh dude, I want to take a vacation, or like, I'm not seeing too many people right now, so I think that they should come in more, or like, I don't like this person, so they should come in less. It's not even about that. It's strictly, what does the data say? They come in, and so all I get to do is tell them exactly what the facts are. If they like me, they buy. If not, then see you later, and thanks for coming in. And then all I get to do is just help them. It takes me, I get out of the equation.
That's awesome. That's huge too. That's huge. And not assuming, I know early on I got caught up in like assuming like, oh, this is like, they might need 24, 36, 48 visits, but I don't know what their economic situation is. And that was just such wrong thinking on mine. And it really crippled me for a little bit there. So definitely a big thing to think about as you're moving into practice is like, what are your thought processes and what are your, I guess judgments would be a good word. Like, what is your judgment of the person sitting across from you? And how can you be just so zoned in on how can I help them? Can I help them? And what is my true goal and objective as their chiropractor?
Right. And like, I mean, people who see like large care plans in front of them, like the thing is, people are coming into our offices because they want us to help them. And it doesn't, like, we should not be concerned on what our compensation is for that. Like set your prices and then just be the doctor. Like set your prices, make a recommendation, and then just like help people get better, man. Like if they don't want to commit to the care plan, then sure, that's fine, dude. They can go and find somewhere else. But like if you're sitting in your office like sweating bullets like I did, like, dude, is this person going to buy? Is this person going to buy? And like, well, I'm going to build them a smaller care plan because I don't think that they're going to buy. And so then I don't know, and I don't want to have this like L on my resume. It's like, dude, it's like, well, they literally sniff it out on you and they'll call it out. And like that feels even worse than just being like, yep, you need to come in this many times.
Right. and not to just regurgitate what other people have said, but I mean, I'm a big consumer of information, and I love just hearing different perspectives. I was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. He was doing like a consult for a business owner, and they were talking about like they have over 100 5-star reviews, and he stops them and he goes, "Hey, can I reframe that for you? What if you had 1,000 4-star reviews? What would that do for your business?" Right. And I think a lot of us, kind of how Spencer's talking about, like, oh, are they going to sign up? Like, is that going to be an L on my sheet? That really helped me think like, oh, I'm batting 100% on conversions. Then it's like, oh, well, what am I, why am I not being told no? Like what's going on? Am I trying to like overcompensate? Am I not offering what's truly valuable to them? And so it's just a reframing thing. I haven't really gotten all the way into the depths of that quite yet. But definitely some powerful stuff there, Spence. Thanks for leaning in on that one. Moving to our next question, what have we learned? Spence, what do you think would be the one or two biggest things you've learned thus far?
Man, I mean, I think on the depth of the topic that we just went behind, it's like, I think the biggest thing I learned is like, dude, I don't have all the answers, and I'm not trying. I'm not trying to have all the answers. I like always wanted to like be like, oh, dude, like I'm Enneagram 4, so like I do my own thing all the time, and like whatever I feel, man, is like the right deal, and like, nah, all that does is cause like turmoil, and it just makes it just creates so much turbulence because, like, dude, find someone who's doing what you're doing, find someone who's doing what you want to do, ask them to teach you, pay for it, and then do it. Like, and when somebody else has done all the legwork for you, it's like, man, now I get to be myself, right? Because I have like tried and true proven systems. Like I know, like I learned how to talk the CLA like everyone that does what I'm doing talks the CLA. So now all I get to do is go and connect with people on their needs, and then I just come in and I just deliver a bomb like CLA analysis, and I don't have to worry about like, oh well, like this is only the 8th scan I've done in this office, and so maybe when I get to 8,000 scans in the office, it's like, nah, dude, like just learn from other people, and like you accelerate yourself like so much faster.
Right.
That and charge more money. Like, yeah, charge more money because you can't pay your bills doing favors for everyone. And it's worth it. Like, it's just worth it. People think you're worth it. You're worth it. Do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's huge stuff, man. And our value as chiropractors, the results that we're seeing as nervous system based, function based chiropractors, like they're in our office because they're seeking results that they can't find elsewhere. And it's just, so definitely valuable stuff there. I would say for me, the two biggest things I've learned is that there is no more potent power than the power of consistency. Consistently showing up, consistently, doing the things you don't want to do. I know we talked about a couple of weeks ago, like just how much I despise what I view as meaningless tasks. But I've learned that consistently doing those, there's like so much freedom and so much value that comes from that. And just getting things done. Shout out Dr. Matt Morris in Sarasota, Florida. We're in a mastermind group right now together. And he texted me today. He's like, look, man, there's no need to chase perfection. It's always about progress. And the way to find progress in life is through consistent action, and not necessarily looking at everything like, was it a success or failure, but continuing to progress through. So consistency for me has been, showing up to chamber and networking meetings, even if it's like, oh, this one's at 9 a.m. Like I could sleep in a little bit, go to the gym around 9, maybe, have some coffee, read my book. Like, no. Like I'm not in that stage of life where like I, one, have that opportunity. And two, like, why do I feel like I've been placed on this earth is to serve people with chiropractic care. And so me chilling at a coffee shop most likely is not going to better that reason. So that's been a big driving factor, is like, what is my reason for being here? And am I serving that? being a believer in God, like how can I continue to serve his kingdom, and what is my service in that kingdom? And it's not, drinking a cortado for a half hour. It's being at a chamber meeting in case there is someone there or they know of someone there, right? It is networking. It's not selling. It's getting the name out there so that people one day can see or experience what's going on. And then more consistency in posting on the Instagram, posting reels. They're not perfect by any means. Do they take a half hour? Yeah. But do I have a half hour right now to go on Instagram, find an audio file, or walk around the office and talk about chiropractic? Absolutely. It's a heck of a lot better than me just scrolling on Instagram. And then the other big consistency is not hitting snooze, waking up at 5:15 and doing the morning routine, getting my day on a planner, writing down my goals, reassessing my goals, and really going through daily devotional books, that kind of thing, to get the mind right, versus hitting snooze and waking up at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and just kind of putting clothes on and going to work has been huge for me. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you talk about early networking groups, man. Like my networking group meets at 7:30 in the morning, and it's 45 minutes away from where I live, dude. So I'm up at 5:15, dude, out the door, 6:30, ready to rock. Because I thought about this today. It's like, man, like I could roll up like sleepy mode, coffee, hoodie, baseball cap, but nah, dude, I'm showing up as the doctor. Like I'm the only one with the doctorate level education in the entire group. And like I'm showing up as literally the face of health for these people. And they're all asking for it in this networking group, dude. It's like, that's me. Like I have to show up for them because they're literally asking for it. And if I show up like chilling one day and I slack one day, that's like one life that I can't save. Like I showed up to this networking group, didn't want to go, was like, whatever. And literally this lady was like, you've answered my prayer this morning. Like all I did was ask for someone to be available to help my family thrive. Yeah. And it's like, dude, I'll wake up 5 a.m. There it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And it makes it that much further. Right. And it probably wasn't, it might've been, but it probably wasn't the first time you went to that 7 a.m. networking group that someone told you that. Like it was consistent action and showing up that, it could have been, this happens all the time where it's like, I went to a networking group like once or twice and no one scheduled off that. So I stopped going. I've done that plenty of times, but what I've learned these last 2 months is when I'm able to be consistent and finding the groups that I can be consistent to, has been huge. So it's not like I'm trying to go to 6 or 7 chamber events each week, right? Like that just doesn't fit my schedule. And so I found the ones that I liked, the ones that fit my schedule. And then my goal is 2 to 3 networking groups a week. And then, from there, how can I have 1 or 2 meetings with people in the community themselves for that one-on-one basis? And so that's been a big goal of mine. And it just goes a lot further.
Yeah. Dude, here's a question for you that's not on our agenda here. Do you what is your prayer over your practice right now? Like, what are some things that God is really marking you with? Dude, I was sitting in the office reading. That's one thing. Dude, I make sure I start every single morning that I'm in here before I open the computer with my a daily devotion, because it's dude, this is the foundation and this is why I'm doing it. And if I slack here in the office, I'm gonna slack everywhere else. And so some days at home where I might be oh no, I'm gonna walk the dog or whatever. It's nah, dude, the business, this is the first thing that's open. So
Nola can wait. Nola's not getting her walk until
yeah, dude. But I was dude, I was marked, bro, hardcore last week. And so has that happened to you? What's something that God is really kind of dropping on your heart for your practice?
Yeah, I think it's been a long theme of mine, but ever since I had my time with depression and anxiety, I've really had a heart to serve that. And so the last few weeks, in my quiet time, in my 15 minutes before the practice opens, really been praying to be a lighthouse and to be a beacon of hope for those suffering from chronic anxiety and depression, but also praying that I can get myself out of the way. This is not you listen to any way to not even just market, but just to, provide hope. Like, are people coming in to see me? Sure. But this is not about me. This practice is not about me. And I pray every day, like, God, allow my flesh to just disintegrate, if you will. Like, just allow it to be taken out of the picture, and for your kingdom to shine in this office, for those that walk in to find hope, for those looking for hope to find the office, and allow them to experience a life reconnected to you. Because in all reality, when people are suffering from chronic anxiety, chronic pain, chronic sickness, chronic illness, whatever it might be, they're not connected back to God. And I can say that, speaking for myself, when I was anxious, when I was depressed, even in times like when I tore my pec last summer, that was the hardest time to connect to God.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to hold that prayer and that intention over the practice has been, I mean, it's just a constant reminder, right? And it'll pop back in my head. I think that's one of the best things, is like setting that prayer each morning. It'll pop back in when times are quiet, or when I like hop on Instagram for the 10 minutes I have in between patients. It's like, oh wait, no, like my prayer wasn't to have these 10 minutes to be on Instagram. Like, let's do more to get that lighthouse shining brighter. What about you, Spence?
Dude, this has been like ringing in my ears, bro. Like, I read it, and all I could do is hear it everywhere. Dude, it's been like so powerful, and I think it like repostured my heart. And it honestly, like, I wrote this down and I pinned it on the wall, like, of the practice, and I was like, this is what we stand for, like, right here. And it's from Philippians 1 verses 9 through 11. Dude, man, it goes, and this is my prayer. That's how it starts, dude. Like, so it's like, I was like, man, like, this is my prayer. Like, this is me saying.
Here comes Paul. Paul.
That man, Paul. Shout out my little bro.
He's writing this in jail. Crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah, dude, when times are tough, like when things are in lack, this is his prayer for like the world. That your love may abound more and more in knowledge and depth of insight, so that you may be able to discern what is best, and may be pure and blameless for the day of Christ, filled with the fruit of righteousness that comes through Jesus Christ, to the glory and praise of God. Like, dude, oh my gosh, bro, that fires me up so much, dude. Like,
that's awesome, man.
And every single day, that's like, dude, that is my prayer, that like I can love on people so much more and more and more, because I'm growing in knowledge, growing in depth of insight, not just like information and stuff to regurgitate and like to buzzword on people, but insight, like really understanding how like so powerful the things are, so that I can discern what is best, pure and blameless, like for other people, so that they can be ready, and so that they can be filled with the fruit of righteousness that comes through awesome, Christ. Dude, that's like, bro, like, oh man, that fires me up. That's insane.
Yeah. I mean, that's huge, right? And like, just getting to have that perspective like every day I can't say for that verse, but for the verse that I keep in my office, like, it just is such a good reminder, right? And really focusing on the one true meaning of life, right? Just gets us refocused. I think, not to go too far off a side tangent, but one of the best things I ever heard you say, Spencer, was you're not a chiropractic Christian, you're a Christian chiropractor. And that really helped me, because going through my faith, like, I always thought like, oh yeah, I'm a chiropractor that is a Christian. And you were like, no, dude, like, you're a Christian chiropractor. And so really making that first known thing come through. It's like how you're supposed to be a student athlete, right? Student comes first. Wasn't the case for me. I just loved football, but you're supposed to be a student first. That same premise. So I figured I would drop that in on other people who may be struggling with that process. But moving on, number 3, what are you implementing going forward? What's maybe 1 or 2 things that you're like, man, I probably should have done this sooner, but now I'm ready to do it now?
Oh, dude, stats, systems again, but I also switched EHRs. That's something we were talking about before we started recording. Yeah, being totally transparent. I was starting with Jane. Jane was really great. It's super aesthetic. It's awesome. It doesn't fit my model. one of the biggest things, I was like scheduling people like in wrong time slots because it's like hard to schedule people like really quick. Like you have to be like really like accurate with where you click on the screen or to do something crazy. I'm switching from Jane to like OG Chiro Touch. And like that's coming from a place of literally like Zach and I talked a couple weeks about EHR, and I was like, yeah, dude, it's just never going to be Chiro Touch for me. And then just like looking at the things that it offers, it is efficient. It's the things that I want it to do. It really what it does is it gets me out of the way a lot. Where I was having to do a lot of things on Jane on the side, it was really unintegrated, and now it's just like, oh yeah, it all happens right here.
Cool.
So it takes away some of my time there. What about you?
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I'm also transferring away from Jane with EHR softwares. I love the aestheticness, or whatever the right word is for that. But having a CA now, and I mean, we just spent it was a good 10, 15, 20 minutes like trying to track someone through a care plan, and like oh, when are they switching from 2 times a week to 1 time a week, which is pretty easy when you're not seeing many people. But when that schedule starts flying up, you want to make it as easy as possible. And so I'll be switching over to Innate Seamless. It's just super integrated with everything that I need. I realized that in regards to an EHR, aesthetics aren't necessarily the only thing that matter. In fact, it's probably one of the least things that matter. Only you and your staff see it, and efficiency overlooks on that end. So super excited to be making that switch, and just seeing where that goes for the practice. I think again, it's another internal system to help the external marketing. So super excited there. And then 2 more things I'm also implementing. I'm partnering with Waitlist Workshops. Dr. Steve Tullius basically developed a 7-figure practice, 500 patient visits a week, all based on workshops. And so super excited to start those coming January. And then a small thing, Red and Wealthy Gardener. And so I was like, I think that's pretty easy, is for those that do sign on to get results-based care, sending out a thank you card. So mailing that out. I'm going to go mail out 6 or 7 of those today. And really just a way to say thank you, and remind them like this is a decision for them, and that they're making the choice to come in for them, not for me. And really setting that precedent with the thank you card. So super excited for that. It took all of 2 minutes to write those out. Added a little personal touch with them with each one. And yeah, so excited to see what the future holds. I think going into 2023 is going to be a big year for myself, but for Spencer as well. And we're excited to continue this journey. Yeah.
Yep. And just to clarify, like, Zach and I are like not by any means like saying like don't use Jane, it sucks. We're not saying that at all. Jane is like really good EHR, like really, really, really good. I loved it. It's just if you are running the model that we're running, where you're taking someone from a care plan and you're going to have progress exams, where you're doing some sort of measure like CLA or the insight scans, it's not cohesive with that experience as well. So you're going to have a lot of side tracking stuff. So if you're like an Excel wizard that can automate all those things, it's great. It just causes a lot of extra work to track the care plan. That's like my main reason for switching. But if you're running like a membership based deal, like come in and get adjusted like whenever you want, schedule yourself, more of like a membership based practice, then it's phenomenal. It's probably the easiest and simplest thing to run.
For sure.
But yeah, if not, if you're going through care plans like the both of us.
Yeah. So good point there. Yeah. You want to leave us with anything else, or are you feeling good, man?
Yeah, I feel great. I feel great every day.
Awesome, man. Well, that's the beauty of chiropractic, getting adjusted and, staying inside out, not outside in. Thank you guys again for joining us. Hope you guys gained some insight, especially for those that are, 6, 12 months out of graduation. This may have been the best episode for you as we unpacked, what we've done, what we've learned, and what we look forward to implementing. Super blessed to just have the opportunity to share, regardless if we have 0 listeners or 3,000. It's just a beautiful opportunity, and we can't wait to continue sharing what we're doing. We got some pretty hefty speakers lined up the next few months, and so stay tuned, man. Stay tuned, and yeah, we're off to the races.
Yep.
Give us a shout out, like and subscribe. You can find me at Dr. Zach Thompson or at Within Chiropractic on Instagram or Facebook. Spence, where can the people find you?
The people can find me on the socials at SpencerDupre.dc, at Empower Chiro TX for Texas. Yeah, thank you so much for listening to the What Now podcast. We will see you next week.
Yeah.